Peace and greetings and welcome into the latest episode of Men of a Certain Age, The Soup. I'm Les, and now it's just me and my man DL one time down on this episode. Panera will not be with us. Shout to P. Happy anniversary, P.
Happy anniversary, no doubt.
P and Mrs. White, y'all have a happy time. I know y'all enjoying yourselves, doing it big. Salute. But the show must go on. So UH, man, how was your week, man? Tell me about it a little bit.
Man, basic week, man. I've been here in the house. My niece is gone. She's in California doing whatever she does. So she's been out there enjoying herself, making money. I've been chilling, man. I really just work at home and just actually I'm doing a big outdoor project. I've got a party coming up next week with one of my close friends, one of my old business partners. She's having a party here for her brother. So I'm doing some stuff in the back and, we're going to have a good time on Friday night and light some fires and get on the grill and make it happen. You know what I mean?
That's what it is, man. It's always good to see you and build with you on the Sunday afternoon. And always, man, please share, subscribe, and comment down low. And also,
press notification.
Hit that bell. That's right, man. Hit that bell so y'all will know when that soup is hot and y'all can get it right off the stove. We got an excellent show for you. Piggybacking off of what went down last week. Well, it was a real hectic episode last week. This week, man, we are officially, as of today, this Sunday, right now, we are 100 days out from the presidential election. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. The week Vice President Harris had with regards to raising over $200 million in less than a week. You would say tomorrow would be a full week when she jumped off her campaign. And also, man, we also have to discuss the bullshit, man. And we both talked about this in the pre-meeting. Sonya Massey, man, rest in peace to her, man. Our condolences to her family, man. That's something we want to discuss because that's a tragedy that happened this week. Also, I don't know, we've talked about it a few different times on the soup about the culture and how sometimes we focus on the wrong things. In the last couple of weeks, not even really, I shouldn't say the last couple of weeks, within this week, since Kamala Harris is coming out and be the presumptive nominee for president of the United States, it's been a lot of backlash and a lot of backbiting. It's been a lot of good, but there's also a lot of bad and a lot of backbiting, man. And what I want to do and we want to talk about, man, is why so many people are questioning her blackness. Oh, she's not black enough. So we definitely going to jump into that on this episode. And also, we got to bring it back to hip hop. We always got to bring it back to the culture, right?
No doubt.
And unfortunately, Puff is back in the news. Now, did you see or did you hear that this man has come up at least 77 times?
Yeah, I saw actually it ran across my YouTube algorithm a couple of days ago about the guy. Puff one of them did this, that, and the other in the court and yada, yada. But at this point, I think Keefe D is say what he wants to say. But we can talk about it. We'll definitely talk about it. You know what I mean? Keefe D is, who knows what his motivations are, man.
No doubt about it. It's heavy. It's more weight on Puff's head right now. And last but not least, Friday, the Olympic Games jumped off. And I want to discuss a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about the Olympics. A lot of excitement about that this week as well. So that's some of the things that we're going to discuss on the soup, amongst other things. But as I started off in the beginning, last week during our show, President Biden announced that he was not going to run for president for a second term. And then right away, we got to speculate it on Kamala Harris being that nominee. And since that happened, she is the de facto nominee for the Democratic Party for president. During this week, we've had Black women come out and raise over $2.1 million. And not to be outdone, the brothers got online and also raised another $2 million in cash for the campaign. And then not to be outdone, you had the LGBTQ community come out and do a fundraising where they raised $1 million. What's been your reaction to the whole announcement and your reaction to all of the excitement that's coming into her campaign since last Sunday evening about this time?
I'm actually very excited myself, and because I've been clamoring for someone other than Joe for months. Since I've been on here in my private life, on my internet, on my online persona, I've been clamoring for someone other than Joe. So I'm glad that she's on it. So I'm excited. Genuinely, I'm genuinely excited. I think that, and like I said, like I said last week, I know she has a path to victory. I think her vice president pick may have a lot to do with it, but the way that she's galvanizing these young people, the young people are excited. In last election, they only voted at a 23% percentage, which were obviously the majority for Joe Biden. If they can get those numbers up, because young people aren't flowing in the Trumpian direction or in the direction of 45, they're more so flowing in the direction of someone who's younger, someone who they can look at as a maternal figure to a certain extent, someone who's actually got actual credentials. So I think that's going to be exciting to see how the Democrats use that to their advantage as far as their marketing, as far as their voter registration is concerned. You also had a Zoom call that nearly crashed Zoom with 170,000 white women. That went down last week as well. So everybody's excited. Where, like I said, we don't want to see Trump. Regardless of your political affiliation, you should not want to see the end of the democracy. And that's basically what this man is calling for. And the good thing about it is that it really shows you that they have nothing to stand on, because they can't even attack her politically. They're calling, I think the two big digs at her are what, she's a DEI hire. Okay, she's black. That's basically calling her black, which we know is code / for nigga. The same thing as woke. It's another one of those words that they use in replacement of the N word. She's a DEI, or she's got a funny laugh. How many times have you seen Donald Trump laugh in public? You've never seen that man laugh in public. So it shows you that he's some type of freaking psychopath or a sociopath to a certain extent as well. You may see him laugh at people, but you won't see him laugh naturally. I think it's gonna be interesting to see how it all shakes out, because you have, like I said in the last week, a prosecutor versus a criminal, a proven felon. So she can articulate the points that I think that Joe Biden wouldn't be able to articulate. At this point, if someone's voting for Trump with not only his record, the fact that no one from his previous administration wants to work with him except for his sycophants, and the fact that Kamala does have the experience on all levels to run the country effectively, they're just confused.
Yeah, it's, as you say, it's another thing for them to say this, you throw out, oh, she's a DEI hire. Basically, all you're saying is she's not a white Christian man. That's all you're saying when you throw that, oh, she's a DEI hire out there. Exactly. Those are code words that they co-opt, like you were saying, woke. That was a term 2 years ago or 4 years ago that they co-opted that, oh, we have to fight this whole wokeism. It's ridiculous, and they don't have anywhere to go or a leg to stand on. We talked earlier during the production meeting when we were talking about Trump yesterday, basically coming out to the Christians at this convention here. It was here in Nashville, where at this Bitcoin.
Oh, the Bitcoin convention. Okay.
Convention where he started spewing off this foolishness. He said yesterday, the Christians, you only have to vote this one last time. You vote this one last time, you won't have to vote ever again. He's blatantly telling these folks, what he wants to do. As I've said in the rundown, during this week, across my TL, it's been a lot of black folks. And I say a lot of black folks, I'm not knowing because I don't know who's behind that, what is it called, that your face card. I don't know who's really behind there, because people put up all types of things. Sometimes people put up a picture, that doesn't even mean that's you. Anyway, don't know who's putting this stuff out, but it's been a lot of backlash on Kamala Harris. She's not black enough. And I don't understand why people want to say, where the fuck does that come from? Not black enough. And who determines what's black enough or not?
I think that with her, it's a talking point, just like everything else. They're going to try to find some way to divide us one way or another. And like you said, as far as the question of blackness is concerned, is we all have our barometer of blackness. If you do certain things, then obviously you're down with us. If you do other things, then you're not down with us. You know what I mean? But that's all a personal thing. It's not a homogenous it's not a homogenous, decided bar that everyone agrees upon. Now we do agree, we can agree upon things that are not black, you know what I mean? But as far as what exactly is black, so a lot of times tends to be stereotypical. You know what I mean? If you say that you're not doing, you're not black if you don't vote for Joe Biden, that's stereotypical, right? You're not black if you don't eat watermelon. You're not black if you don't if you don't know how to dance, if you don't know how to play spades. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these things can be considered stereotypical. So to me, being black has always been a state of mind. Being black has been a state of mind as being as far as a community, and us doing everything we can to help each other out, to move each other forward, because we know that there's a whole team working against us. That's my definition of black. As long as you're doing that in some way, shape, or form in your everyday life, or affecting or effecting the things that you can, I don't have a problem with that. To me, she's obviously a member of the Divine Nine. I think she's an AKA, so that's always a good thing. Shouts out to her for doing that. She's graduated from HB. More can you? How much blacker do you want her to be? I really don't understand what she has to have. She has to know how to walk around with hot sauce in her bag like Hillary. Is that the way that works? I don't understand that. And I really think that it's a disservice to Black people who have put in the work and who have put in the time, who have put in the book knowledge and overcome all the things that she's had to overcome, not only as a Black woman, but obviously as a Black woman in politics, in this atmosphere, in this environment that we're in right now. So it's important to me that I throw my full support behind her, because I know that she has similar experiences to me. I wouldn't be able to relate to somebody who grew up in the hood, or I wouldn't relate to somebody who has 34 felonies. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna even do that. I'm just gonna keep it real. I can't relate to you if you've got 34 felonies. That doesn't relate to me. What relates to me is a person who elevated themselves through education, who joined an organization, who worked their way through law school, who got elected as an official on three different platforms: local, state, and federal. So I mean, what more can you ask for her as far as experience when you had an idiot who doesn't even understand civics or history or the way that the government works, and as 45 was? It's an easy choice.
Let me just say, man, those comments you made on the Vice President Kamala Harris was definitely on point. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
She has a record in the history. A lot of these people like to say she's unqualified. So I'm like, yo, she was DA, attorney general, and then a senator before becoming VP. So if most people could put that on their resume, I would think that would be some type of accomplishment, would it not?
Without a question. And like I said, they don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to an experience with him and with her and Trump, because she literally is, like I said, I'm looking forward to her eviscerating him and increasing the lead that she's already grabbed.
Yeah, well, one thing is crystal clear: is Trump is not going to debate her. He's going to do, in these 100 days we have until the election, he's going to do everything he can to not get on the same stage with her where she can actually fry his ass. Because if anybody is built to fry somebody, it's a Black woman. All these people want to talk about her blackness. She's not Black this or she's not Black that. Bullshit. There's one thing she can do. She can fry her a motherfucker. And if Trump gets up there across from her or next to her, he is definitely fish to be fried.
Yeah, on a Friday. You already know what's happening. You already know how we go on Fridays.
Fried fish, halibut. Let's eat, man. But as I was saying earlier, though, man, as I look at my timeline and I see people, and it's some people that I respect on some of the things that they say. But on this particular instance, Dr. Umar comes out of nowhere and just goes 100% ham on Kamala Harris. You know what I mean? First of all, she got a strike with him because she got a European as a husband. He's a Jew at that. He basically has 2 strikes with Umar with her. I don't want to give too much light to what Umar said, but I'm going to play a snippet of what Umar had to say. Then I want to come back and I want to build on that with you. All right, Lord?
Speaking of Kamala, right? How do you feel about her? Because I know you made a comment earlier saying that she don't claim her black side.
House niggas, just like Barack Obama, they do what they need to do to stay close to the white power structure. She made a career locking up black people. This is the same woman who went on international television, Art, let me remind you, about a year or two ago and said, America is not a racist country. You want me to go vote for a so-called black woman who went on international television and told the world that America is not a racist country? She spit in the face of the family of Trayvon Martin. She spit in the face of the family of Breonna Taylor. She spit in the face of the family of Michael Brown, Alton Sterling, Philando Castile, Amir Locke, Dante. We can go on and on. Tamir Rice, all the Africans murdered by police, which are state-sanctioned executions. Let us be clear. The police are agents of the state. When the police kills a black person, that is a state-sponsored execution. And in response to all this racism, the execution of George Floyd, this part-time black woman says America is not racist. And when I say part-time, Art, I'm not poking fun at her because she's being mixed race. I want to be clear. I'm poking fun at her because she can rarely be found speaking up for black people. My issue ain't her being mixed race. Nobody's responsible for how they come into this world. My issue with her is not identifying with her people. I remember another interview I saw with Kamala Harris, Art, and she said,
So let me just say, peace and Pan-Africanism, peace. Dr. Umar, right there, we gave him a little bit of light here for him to spew his talking points. At the end of the day, man, at the end of the day, when you got a person across the aisle from you, what is he telling? What is Trump telling the popo? That he's going to do what for him, UH?
Total immunity.
Go in.
That's absolutely crazy. That's why I say that you have to, we always talk about doing your own research and finding your own points, what affects you. My not necessarily problem with Dr. Umar, I can't even put the quotes, he's an actual doctor, but my problem with Dr. Umar is the fact that he doesn't understand the importance of us being effective in this election. He hasn't projected that. You know what I mean? He hasn't projected the fact of the dangers of the white nationalism. He's more concerned about checking black people than he is about preventing the white Christian nationalism, the rise of white Christian nationalism. Although he's made people aware of it, I'm not going to say that he hasn't done that. But he's not. That's the point that we hop on more than anything else. We hop on the fact that there are white Christian nationalists, that there are people out there. And they're not only in a danger to black people, but they're also a danger to the American system of democracy that we've grown up under. You know what I mean? Of course, she's not going to just speak specifically to black people. And like we said last week, we're only 13% of the population. There's no way in the world that you can have a black-centric candidate actually win, just based upon the level of the isms that exist in our country. So, of course, you have to have a wide-ranging and broad message that appeals to everybody. That's just simple politics. Now, if she was just running for a councilman in a particular city, I can understand her having an all-black agenda because the majority of her constituents and the people that she has to report directly to are all black. That's completely understandable. You know what I mean? She's bound to that people and being their representative. But as you go further up in government, the base of people that you're responsible for representing grows. That's going to include white people. That's going to include LGBT. That's going to include white Asians and Hispanics. So you have to make yourself, if you're in the business of politics, and the one thing that politicians love more than anything else is winning. That's what they get in it for. You have to expand your audience to make sure that you're winning over the people, but still delivering a message. And I don't think at any point or another she's disrespected black people to the point where we will say, oh no, she's not one of us. I've never heard her say anything that, or through my research and what she's done as a legislator, I've never seen anything to be like, no, I'm not fucking with her. No, I haven't. I absolutely not.
Let me just say, peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism. The question would be to Dr. Umar, what's the alternative? The alternative is not to vote or to vote for Trump. Because if you don't vote, that's a vote for Trump.
Correct.
Let's be clear.
Correct.
What's his end game with coming at her with so much venom and not having some type of pride in her bringing the first Black woman to be elected, other than Shirley Chisholm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shirley Chisholm to run for a president. We're not talking about Candace Owens representing the Democratic Party, somebody that you know is an enemy of the state, somebody who has a long history of being self-hating, loathing Black woman. We're not saying Tim Scott. We're not talking about Byron Donald. We're not talking about those quote unquote Black folks running for the office. We're talking about somebody who's been firmly entrenched in Black society. Where did she go to school, UH?
If I'm not mistaken, Howard University.
She pledged sorority. What sorority did she pledge, UH?
I'm not mistaken, she's an AKA.
If that is not biggity Black, you know what I'm saying? What is, again, who classifies and what classifies you as being Black enough?
Exactly. Like I expounded upon earlier, it's really, I look at it from my way that I look at someone as being Black as if we're doing all we can to help each other as a community, moving each other forward. That's basically, you can take that, even translate that to a human scale. But my priorities are Black people, you know what I mean? So that's the way that I look at it. As long as you're doing something to help another Black person and move us forward, let's get it, you know what I mean? And I think that's really the only qualification for being a Black person, and in my eyes, because I can't say that every person that has a Black skin color, as shares our melanin, is a Black person, because we all know that there's enemies amongst us, all skin folk and kinfolk. But we also know that as long as we continue to move together as a unit, we're a lot more powerful. People like Dr. Umar and his ways of putting division amongst us, and next it's going to be, oh, she's Black, but she's boule, and she's an elitist because she's in a fraternity, she's in a sorority. Come on, man. What is, like you said, what is Black enough? Does she have to have lashes and a weave and a BBL and twerk? Is that Black? You know what I mean? Like I said, a lot of the times people want to confuse stereotypes and trends with Blackness, and it's not, in my eyes. And I think it's disrespectful for someone to clearly question someone's Blackness if they don't have a defining communal definition for it, because that's what we are. We're a communal people. That's crazy. He's out of his mind.
You know what I'm saying? If people are committing crimes, her job was to prosecute these people. So it wasn't like she was setting them up. And from what I've read, that's a whole lot of slander that they were talking about, how many people that she locked up for marijuana charges. The charge is much lower than what the internets are saying, in the thousands and this and that and the third. So you have to, again, as we always say, do your math. Mm-hmm. You can't just take somebody's word for it that that's how it is or that's how it's going to be. Dr. Umar, peace and Pan-Africanism. Peace. There's a lot of things that Dr. Umar says that I agree with, that I concur with. I say, man, word too. Mm-hmm. But this particular instance, him going in on VP Harris the way he is, when the stakes are as high as they are, I can't get it. I can't understand it. It makes me think that, dare I say, plant
He could be. You never know. Like the power of the dollar is amazing, man. As D always says, you never know if it's follow the money. I just don't, like you said, I don't understand why you wouldn't, if you're so pro-black, why wouldn't you put somebody who isn't anti-black to the forefront? Because Trump, or not being a participant in this election, is a vote for Trump. Because those Trumpers are going to vote, every last one of them. You know what I mean? And twice on Sundays if they could. It's a situation where we need to be unified. We need to be in step, understanding the dangers of this guy. And there's no excuse for apathy. And there's no excuse for someone getting your vote for $1,200.
For sure. And
Sure.
Dr. Umar, we're still waiting on the school for peace and Pan-Africanism. So, as I said earlier, what's the choice, Dr. Umar? If you saying that you could never vote for Kamala Harris, are you going to sit this out, or are you going to vote for the other dude? So let me give you a taste of what over 45 is talking about, man.
And Christians get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You don't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
Incredible.
Christians get out.
That's just like robbing the bank bareface. I'm going to stick the bank up, no mask. I'm going to come in bareface and leave my license on the counter for you. You know what I mean? This dude basically saying, Christians, quote unquote Christians, we need you to come out this one last time, because if I get in here this one last time, you'll never have to vote again in your life. When you hear that, what do you hear when he says you'll never have to vote again in your lives?
I think of the Hunger Games. I think about a wild-ass society, a dystopian society that this guy is going to create, an oligarchy that is completely different from what we live in now. I can't imagine, for someone who didn't have the right to vote for a long time, I can't imagine not having my one vote count. Because literally, and I was thinking about this earlier, I'm one of those 11,870 votes that Trump wanted from the state of Georgia. You know what I mean?
And if you can just find me 11,875. Just find those for me.
One more than what we have. My vote literally does count. So for him to say that, and to basically come on and say that, listen, you're not going to be voting anymore. You don't have to worry about it. We're going to fix it. That means he's going to fix elections. He's going to fix the democracy. This Project 2025 will all be in effect. They have a 180-day plan with that. There are people who are prepared to make sure that they execute whatever his sycophants and these right-wing Christian militia, nationalist militia that are here, that are ready to leap into service if unfortunately this guy is elected. It's really something that people may want to consider, because the one thing about him, he'll tell you straight to your face. He has no verbal control. He's going to say what's on his mind. This is a direct pipeline. There's no, let me stop and think about it. But this might not be right. He doesn't have he just is
straight no chaser.
The straight no chaser. He's gonna give it to you raw. You know what I mean? And if he's telling you that you don't have to vote anymore, you best believe he's gonna keep that promise, and you don't have to vote anymore, because he's gonna completely change the way that our country operates.
There needs to be a hashtag called #dumb rappers. You know what I mean? Because it's nothing but dumb, ignorant rappers on my TL. And when I say dumb, ignorant, I hate to say it, it's the youth. It's the younger guys and gals. Sassy Sass and some other dude, he out here talking about Kamala Harris's record. with the arrest, what we just talked about a minute ago. And I'm like, yo, B, what the fuck are you talking about? You have no idea of what you're talking about. Lean, stay off the lean and the rapper weed. Because you are off your fucking rocker. These dudes and ladies, they ain't paying attention to this Project 2025, yo. They think it's some type of hoax. Obviously, they're not paying attention to it because I see too many of them quoting shit about Kamala Harris on why they ain't supporting her. Oh, because she's black. We supposed to vote for her?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We are.
It's especially when she up against this other motherfucker who want to turn into another Adolf Hitler. You know what I mean? Let's be serious. They don't understand what's it's like street cred, trying to get street cred. You know what I mean? It's cool to be anti. Again, hashtag dumb rappers. Let's get that going. Whenever you see on Facebook or on Instagram or on Twitter, you see some dumb shit from a rapper, hashtag dumb rappers. You know what I'm saying? It's just ridiculous, man, that these people run around here saying reckless shit. You know what I mean? They heard Dr. Umar spew what he had to say, then they take it and put their cut on it. You know what I mean? They take it and they dumb it down a little bit more. They put their cut on it. They put their dumb mark on it, and then they go hit licks with it and give it out to the rest of the dumb rappers, and then they spew it out to the rest of them. It's a chain reaction type thing. Again, hashtag dumb rappers. When y'all out there come across one of these rappers saying some dumb shit about Kamala Harris, hashtag dumb rappers. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that, man. It was so ironic this morning. I watched the Wall Street Journal YouTube video on Project 2025. And they had the author of it, the Roberts dude from the Heritage Foundation.
Right.
You know, they had him on there, and he was just like, yeah, this is what we need to get rid of. Immigrants. He says 15 million mass deportations. People don't really get it. I don't think that people really get the scope of people coming house to house, martial law, police immunity, oligarchy, basic communism, because that's what it's going to become. It's going to become just strictly a working class and an oligarchy, with the people in the middle getting squeezed the hardest until they either pushed one way or another. Hopefully for the rich people's aspirations, push towards the poorer side. But that's what is in store. These people are dead serious about it. There's no jokes, there's no games, there's no memes. These people are dead serious about changing the way that the company operates fundamentally. And I don't want to be here for that. I was actually just a quick sidebar. I was actually thinking about getting a new car and blah, 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 so on and so forth. Man, I'm going to go get a boat. I really am. I'm going to go get me a boat and put it right on, get me a dock somewhere down in Miami by the time this is all over, man. That's what I'm going to get a boat.
What you just gonna shove off? Is that what you gonna do?
Get me a light joint. I'm gonna go start researching boats heavy, man. I gotta get out because, man, I don't want to be around when I leave. If I can get to like the Bahamas for 90 days, you know what I'm saying? Someplace like that, someplace close off of the Florida coast. I'm with it. I'm dead ass about that.
I hear you. I'm gonna have to start calling you the skipper then. That's the plan. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I'm really seriously considering that.
I hear you, fam. Shit is real. Stakes is high out here, man. We're gonna continue to say that until the stakes lower. Please, y'all, share, subscribe, comment down low, hit that notification so you can get the soup when it's hot, man. As I always say, my TL is on fire. My TL stays keeping me in the know. But I have to admit, man, on my TL, man, when that Sonya Massey came across, whenever I see the police around black people or going into someone's home, or just if I see a clip with a policeman and a black person, I tend not to click on it because
You already know.
I know where it's going. Going back to George Floyd, I can remember when that came across my TL, and I didn't watch it at first. You know what it took for it to really start buzzing and saying what happened before I went back and looked at it. Now, and in this case with the Sonya Massey, I have yet to see her actually get shot and killed. I've seen the part when the Raider come to the door, when Raider enter the crib, and after that, I'm like, I don't want to see or need to see this lady lose her life, man. Here we are in 2024, and again, going back to what is it that Trump wants to give all police?
Immunity, total immunity.
So that basically, again, in a nutshell, is giving them the power to blow anybody's back out that they want when they feel like it. Kamala Harris locked up a couple 50 black people for marijuana possession. What the fuck?
It's incredible, man. I'm the same with you, man. In our pre-production meeting, we talked about it. I still haven't watched the whole George Floyd thing. I still haven't. I can't. It's too traumatic for me. And like I said, me and you, as friends for over 40 years, we've had an experience where we had a cop with a gun in our face. So that's not anything funny to me. It's traumatic. And I'm sure we both know someone who's been murdered by the police at some point or another in our life. It's not something that I take pleasure or I can even stomach. I'm like you. I watched him until he went to the crib and she was sitting by the stove, and I was like, oh no, I tapped out. You know what I mean? But that goes back to saying, this is why I've been harping on it. Like literally, we harp on something and then we get examples of why. Of the reasons why we want to make it so important. We harped on Project 2025. We harped on this police immunity, and look what happens the next week. Bam! You know what I mean? This is in front of us, man. This is not something that's going to go away. This is something that continues to happen. So we cannot let people that we have literally daily interactions with at some point. It's no way in the world you're going to get away from a cop in America. No way in the world. No, you can't go to the store without seeing a cop. You know what I mean? You don't want to be in fear of someone who's supposed to protect you. And she called him that because she thought somebody broke in her house.
That's the craziness. It's, I'm calling you for my protection. And if you come in my house and murder me, that makes no sense. No how, no way.
Incredible. And
it come to find out that this dude has worked at several different precincts in the last several years. So is this guy not putting these other precincts on his resume? Because you don't normally see police officers just bounce around from Arkansas to Tennessee, from Tennessee to Illinois. Usually when a police officer is in the community, he's entrenched in the community. He may go this way up in the department, but he generally doesn't go from state to state, especially if you just a regular cop, not a captain or anything of that nature. But that's got to be sus, that this dude has been at all of these places within a certain amount of time. What type of background check is going on?
What type of mental check is going on? Like, how do you know what this guy's mentality is? What kind of psychological tests or psychological screening are you giving this guy? Excuse me. What type of training is he getting? Is his training being adapted from organization and jurisdiction to jurisdiction? I do know that police tend to constantly look for more money. And I will say that you will, because we have a lot of that down here. We have MARTA picking off the APD dudes because they have the best training in the state. You know what I mean? So you have situations like that. You have people where they recruit officers from like Mississippi and such and such and such, but you really don't have a lot of movement like this guy. He was 5 departments in 6 years or something crazy like that. That's wild. You know what I mean? So obviously he wasn't with the get along gang. Something was off with him. If you can't find something that works for you in 5 years of doing something, yeah, that's a problem.
Especially lateral moves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not like you're elevating. It's not like you're making vertical moves. So yeah, man, that's wild. But again, it goes back to that total immunity thing. And I think that now I can't even say I think that. I don't want people to forget 2020 because 2020, everything boiled to a head, right? This guy, 45, was prepared to shoot protesters at Washington Square, at the Justice Department. Think about the response that they had when it came to Black Lives Matter, as opposed to when it came to January 6th. I'm just wondering if people really understand the ramifications of their online attitudes and the
No,
consequences of their vote.
No.
They cannot, man. There's no way in the world that you can support someone who would put down or who would kill protesters, literally, and come in and say that was under the power of the president, and there's nothing, and he can't be prosecuted for it because of the fact that the Supreme Court is ruled that way. So people, we connect the dots, man. It's always a series of things that are in place that people want to put more things on top of. It's like they're trying to build a fascist system that the majority of Americans will not be happy with.
Yeah, again, unfortunately, it's a lot of stupid people in the States, man. A lot of stupid people. And unfortunately, I'm not going to say stupid, naive people. It's a lot of evil people. Those three, naive, stupid, and evil. That's scary to be over there. And this guy, 45, he's the king of those people. You know what I mean? Because he'll say his favorite rebuttal, I know nothing about that.
I don't know.
I know nothing about that. And that is his favorite rebuttal, man. But like I said, it pisses me off. I shouldn't say pisses me off, but it frustrates me, man, when I see us spew just random silliness and spew it and don't have anything as what's different. You can just hate on Kamala Harris, hate on her, but what's the alternative? Do you listen to Trump, what Trump says when he gets up there and say, Christians, I'm not a Christian, but we just want you to vote this one last time and you'll never have to vote again. And then people know what he's talking about because they know about the Project 2025 and the crazy shit that's in there that if he gets back in office that he's going to try his damnedest to implement. And those same dumb rappers are going to be the first ones to be ass out, yo. I know we were talking about Sonya Massey and the recklessness and the hate that happened to her, man. Again, we want to send a rest in peace to her and our condolences to her family, man. Again, I'm pretty sure this week we're going to open up Twitter and it's going to be another instance of some black man or some black woman losing their lives by the hands of the police just because. And it's going to be like, oh, it's just another day. And we have to get away from that, man. And the only way we're going to do that is by voting and making sure that unqualified immunity, or what is it called that he's trying to propose?
Just immunity, police immunity. That's period.
He's trying. We have to vote so that doesn't come into play, man. As we continue on, man, on this episode of The Soup, man, please share, subscribe, comment down low, and please hit that notification bell so you can get the soup when it's hot.
Total police immunity.
Total police immunity. That's almost, nah, I didn't even go there. But listen, man, this week, some more information came out about one Sean Diddy Combs, man. And it seems to be getting worse for Puff. How long? It's almost been 30 years since Tupac's murder.
Yeah. 1996.
It's an indictment coming where Puff is in there 77 times. 77 times. As we look at and hear the stories over the years and different things, these cats were fucking with a lot of the same women, man. You know what I'm saying? They say Puff was with Sally Richardson at the same time Pac was. Quincy Jones's daughter, say Puff and Pac again bumping heads. And it's crazy to think all this time later that they're saying that Puff put the hit out for him, put $1 million on him, put a mill ticket on his head. To have him knocked off. I mean, obviously, this is a different part of the program from the politics. We're going back to hood politics here. What's your thoughts on Puff being in this alleged indictment 77 times and putting a meal ticket on one Mr. Shakur's head?
I'm not surprised. Got to think about it. At that time, Puffy was what, 25, 26 years old, probably feeling himself.
A lot different mind frame at 24, 25, right?
Yeah, 24, 25. Think about how we were at 24.
Yeah.
We were completely different people. So that's not to give him an excuse or a reason, but that's something to consider. If he did have anything to do with it, I know that the only crime that you can prosecute beyond 7 years is actual murder. Everything else dies in 7 years of a statute, but murder doesn't have a statute. For him to saying he's being indicted 77 times, that means that he was involved with the murder, right? The only way, but we all know that the whole thing started from Tupac stomping out Orlando after the fight. Allegedly. That was an event that directly led to Orlando killing Tupac at that point. From the timeline that I've witnessed on that particular night. So the only way that I could see Puffy really catching a stray is if he paid Orlando if he paid one of those boys afterwards for bumping him off. Other than that, I really see it as it could be hearsay 20 years later. It could be the words of a convicted felon. I'm just looking at it from an attorney's point of view. It could be the words of a convicted felon trying to find a way to get out of his potential life sentence. It could be anything. So I'm not siding with anybody as far as this is concerned. I just want to see what angle they approach it from. If they're saying 77 times, so that means it has to be murder just because it's beyond the statute of limitations. So I'm just interested to see how that works out.
My thoughts is this: unless they got him on tape saying it, or this $1 million can be traced to him, like you said, it's basically hearsay at this point, right? I mean, no matter how many times he's mentioned in this indictment or coming indictment, 77 times or not, unless y'all got him actually saying it or the money trail leading back to him, you really don't have shit. In my opinion, I'm no lawyer, but I'm like, hell of a lot of law and order though.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds hella good to say that he's been mentioned 77 times, but for him to put a meal ticket on him, Tupac was really putting pressure on them boys for him to put a meal ticket on them. Because if you think about it, why would he need to put a meal ticket on Tupac? Why? Just because they banging the same chicks? I'm gonna put a meal ticket on him?
Yeah, but you never know. You see how your boy is wild and out of control emotionally, so you never know what to. We've learned that he's wild and out of control emotionally, so you never know how. Like I say, at 20, damn near 30 years ago, you never know how his brain worked and how he interpreted. But
yeah, the 20s is a wild.
Yeah, and imagine having millions and millions and millions of dollars. So it's who knows what them boys was into or what they were thinking at that particular time. I just hope that it doesn't take away the good times that we felt during that era. You know what I mean? Because they both produce great music. I'm
just like, yo, for him to put that on him, you would thought that Tupac was putting mad pressure on Puff and Bad Boy. Like he was robbing niggas. Niggas was getting up for their chain. Niggas was getting beat up. For him to really just put that much emphasis in 1994, A mill is, come on now, that ain't.
That's a mill.
Yeah,
That's
that's heavy.
that's the way we think of a mill.
That's heavy. That's
Yeah.
not 50,000 or nothing like that. You know what I mean? That's a whole mill to be put on this man's head. And from what we know, it's like he wasn't putting that much pressure on them to be putting a whole mill on them. He put out the shit about Biggie, call the cops when you see Tupac. I mean, that's enough for you. That's gonna make you want to put a mill on somebody's head?
Yeah, so much. That's a bit much, man. Like I said, the only way I can think of something like that would happen is if he just was an egomaniac, and that's yet to be seen. So we gotta watch it. We gotta watch that one play out, man.
No question about it. I just, like I said, it came across my TL and I was like, damn, 77 times he put $1 million on his head. I'm like, yo, to put $1 million on somebody's head, they have to be putting mad pressure on you.
Yeah,
mad pressure on you for you to put that type of money on somebody's head. You know what I mean?
in '96.
Exactly. But again, peace to that whiz kid and players on his team. Before we wrap up, man, UH, and get out of here on this hot episode of The Soup, please share, comment, and subscribe down low.
Notifications Wednesday at 4.
The Olympics, man. I love the Olympics. For me, my first kind of like recollection of the Olympics was the 76. And I don't remember watching, but I remember the people who came out of that 76.
Bruce.
Yeah, exactly.
Young Bruce.
The Wheaties box. She was Bruce then. But also Sugar Ray Leonard. Now, those is like my first memories of the Olympics. Fast forward to 84, because obviously 80, we didn't go because we was in beef with Russia. And it's crazy, right? Russia was like the #1 enemy of the United States. Now they love this motherfucking Putin. That's another thing, man, before we get into the Olympics. What the fuck is with these diplomats meeting with Trump? Like Benjamin Netanyahu. Why is he meeting with Trump on the side? You know what I mean? What's the kid from Erdogan? They meeting him on the side. I don't never remember that happening no other time. Like when Barack was president, I don't remember boys blowing through to see George W. You know what I mean? And when George W. was president, I don't remember boys blowing through to come see Clinton on the side.
Yeah.
Why all of a sudden is this cool for these people to be having direct contact? Like that's their friend, or that when I get to Atlanta, Don, I'm gonna come through and we gonna kick it. You know what I mean? That ain't what, you know what I'm saying? What gives with that, man? Do you find that alarming or interesting?
I find it interesting, but I can see the reasoning behind it. And let me tell you the reasoning behind it. It's because he's an active political candidate. You know what I mean? Only because of that. I see the reasoning far-reaching, although it may be, but I see the reasoning for that decorum, extending that decorum towards someone who's currently involved in the race. And they want to make sure that they have their policies on, or what they say as far as their policies are concerned. I can excuse that only for that reason, but no, that's completely untraditional and disrespectful, because he hasn't. They're trying to put a foreign influence on our elections. You know what I mean? By showing that BB comes over here and says, Kamala lets him know that, hey, listen, we're not having it. You know what I mean? You need to go ahead and stop this nonsense. He had Sleepy Joe under his sort of wing in Joe's pocket, but Ms. Harris isn't having it. To see him go to Trump and then play up to Trump, yeah, this is who I'm really fucking with, is different to me. But like I said, he is an active political candidate. I just don't think that he showed our election process any respect by doing what he did. I think it's more so on the people who go visit Trump than it is on actual 45, just because of the fact that he's not going to see them, they're coming to see him.
I would say it's one thing if Trump was traveling to Israel and then he went and saw BB. But
exactly.
For BB to come to the United States and then meet with him off on the side, that shit in my book is foul. But I digress. We go back to the Olympics. As I said, we didn't go in 80 because of the whole Russia thing, right?
Mhm.
So 84 was like when I really locked in on my Olympics. 84 out in LA.
Mike.
Carl Lewis out there burning boys up in 100. You know, MJ and them boys out there balling for Team USA. That's Greg Foster running the hurdles. You know what I mean? Evelyn Ashford running 100. Those type of things. Fast forward to 88 when we was in Seoul. Even though we lost the gold, we brought the bronze home, which spurned the dream team. But I'm saying all this to say that I've always loved the Summer Olympics. You know what I mean? Basketball, the track and field, even the gymnastics. For a quick minute, I text my nephew yesterday. For a quick minute, I was watching rugby. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, these dudes is out here hitting, yo. That rugby is like basically when we used to play tackle football.
Wombly.
Exactly. That's almost what that is. But respect to them boys because they be hitting without no pads on. But as I said, man, the opening ceremonies, you watch the opening ceremonies, you see all the countries come in, they decked out. You see the Team USA got the low on. They got LBJ holding the flag as the bearer and Coco Gauff also the flag bearer. But man, I was not feeling that whole river. You know what I mean? Give me the athletes walking in the stadium, on the track, in their garb, holding the flag, so everybody could salute them, man. I was not feeling that open ceremonies Friday, man. How much of or any did you get of that?
I didn't get any of the opening ceremony. I'm definitely like you. I'm a sports enthusiast. I love the Olympics every 4 years. You know what I mean? I'm like you. I watch gymnastics, obviously track and field.
Breaking this year, we definitely got to tune in.
Yeah, I was about to drop it on the breaking. Yeah, we got to watch the breaking competition. They got the breaking as an Olympic sport, which is dope. The beat boys and beat girls in separate divisions is dope, and the team breaking. So that's a credit to our generation. So shouts out to men of a certain age. So shouts out to the hip hop generation. God damn it, we get it, we did it. You know what I really a fan? I love swimming. I love to watch them boys in that pool.
I'm watching right now as we speak.
Yeah, I love watching the boys get up in that water and get it in, man. And Mark Spitzer, remember Mark Spitzer, the first boy? He was 7 joints before Phelps came along. So I'm definitely having an affinity for the Summer Olympics, man. And I love watching Team USA do our thing. And I actually didn't watch the opening ceremonies, but I caught a YouTube replay, actually a Peacock replay of it. And I was different. I like to see the boys walk in there because it gives it a certain amount of. But it's Paris, it's France, it's been there before. You got to do something different, taking advantage of the city. I don't have a problem with it. The Europeans was online going crazy about the transgender.
They in Paris. What the hell they expect?
Yeah, they was online going crazy over that, and I'm like, yo, y'all really. The cultural issues are more important to y'all than anything else. They won't talk about the money because they get rich, but they'll definitely want to distract you with some culture issues.
Stop calling fries French fries.
Give me fries.
Yeah.
Give me the potato fries.
American fries. Give me U.S. fries. We don't want French fries.
Did you see Talladega Nights? A crepe. It's a crepe. No, it's a pancake. Yeah, man. Aside from the nonsense, man, I'm looking forward to the next 2 weeks. Watched USA hoop this morning before we hopped on the air, man. I see Simone Biles nicked herself up, but she got back and got into it. I'm looking forward to see a young black dude too in the gymnastics joint.
U.S. gymnastics team, the black dude.
Yeah.
No, it brings a certain amount of patriotism, and definitely when the athletes are black, that brings even more patriotism out for myself. Speaking for myself, like you said, watched Team USA this morning, and that damn KD, easy money sniper, man. That shit was just water today, yo.
He had to remind boys, and I'm with you on the patriotism too. Tip 2, this is something I put up earlier in the week. Listen, just because we love us doesn't mean we hate you or hate America, because I love America. I just watch the government, you know what I mean? And I watch the things that are happening around me, and I definitely watch the media. as I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud. I'm proud that my folks is from Arkansas and Tennessee and Alabama. You know what I'm saying? I'm from Buffalo and I'm in Atlanta. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of the fact that we can walk outside and we can go where we want, that we can vote. We have free and fair elections. I'm proud of the fact that I can drive from one side of the coast to the other side of the coast without having to worry about anything or any border stops or anything like that. I'm proud of it, man. And so that's why I think that it's so important for us to continually mention politics as our main theme here, man, because we do truly love this country that we're in. And we want to see it do our best. We want to see them do their best at the Olympics, but we also want to see them do their best in a day-to-day capacities, man, because, ooh, Lord.
Yeah,
they make it tough, man.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I agree with you 1,000% on your sentiments right there, man. Shout out to Team USA across the seas over there, man. Y'all hold it down and y'all come back safe. Because
bring it back.
Because we all know it's some shadiness going on and plotting somewhere over there, man. Man, before we go ahead and take this soup off the burner here, you got anything you want to share with the folks?
Yeah, man, I just came to a revolution before I got on here, man, and I actually just wanted to say something that it's gonna take a little bit. It's gonna take a second, but it's definitely worth it. Earlier in the week, I noticed somebody who was on Facebook. I know from Buffalo, a guy, black dude. You know what I mean? He still works in collections, and I noticed that he put up a post about he was with Kamala, Miss Harris, and so all these white guys that I knew I used to work with in Buffalo 20 some odd years ago, 25, 26 years ago, all basically piled on. Oh, Trump this, Trump that, so on and so forth. So I'm like, wow, this is wild. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like January 6, 2021. You know what I'm saying? I really don't have to say too much more than that. You know what I'm saying? Well, what about the gas prices and so on? I'm like, you understood basically a couple little back and forth. I was in the bed. I had nothing to do. So I went back and forth. And so I was like, listen, one thing you have to understand with me is that I'm not a black person in Buffalo who needs to work with you. I don't need you for anything. I don't need to kowtow to your opinions or bite my tongue from what I say because of the fact that I'm completely out of the picture. You don't affect me economically. And I sat back and I thought about it. I was like, you know what? First, I felt good about saying that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm away from the clutches of these white people. But then I sat and thought about it. I sat and thought about how frustrating it must be as a racist 45 supporter in New York. Because no matter what you put on the internet, no matter how racist you are, guess what's going to happen? New York is going Democratic. Period. There's no way around it. It's been like that. It's going to be like that. New York is going to be blue. I and you, on the other hand, are in pivotal states that can actually determine our next president and vice president. Our vote matters. So, number one, go out and vote. And number two, understand electoral politics. And by your understanding of electoral politics, it will give you, number three, a reason to never argue with anyone on the internet. That's my wise words for the day. Know your enemy.
Thank you for those wise words. It's funny. Some lady had reposted Dr. Umar's rant on Kamala Harris, right? And of course, you know what I said? I said peace and Pan-Africanism. But respectfully, we're still waiting on that school. So I posted that. And so she came back at me and was like, we're not going to, let me see exactly what it was that she said.
Oh, she was pro.
Yeah, of course. We're not going to deflect. We're not going to deflect here. It's about her. So I told her, I said, you know, that's exactly what Dr. Umar is doing, is deflecting. I said, Harris is not the enemy. Trump is the enemy. And the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? And again, man, I don't understand these people, women, especially black people. Black women or black men trying to disparage Kamala Harris when the alternative is a motherfucker who wants to make all schools have the Bible in the school. All children that are not in private schools must take the civil service exam or the exam,
military entrance exam.
the military entrance exam. He's going to do away with all FBI, all alphabet companies. He's gonna do away with, so he can basically say what Don L down in Atlanta, Georgia, him and Les, they have a podcast, and that guy P, they have a podcast called The Soup, and they're talking shit about me on the regular. Go lock them up. I'm gonna send the military to go lock him up. That is what the alternative is.
Correct.
The alternative is the opposite of what we've been living since we've been here on the planet Earth. You know,
Correct.
the alternative. And so for y'all that are running around here talking shit about Kamala Harris,
Fuck out of here.
this has been the latest and the greatest episode of The Soup. And as always, man, it's the same old soup. We just reheating it. Until next time, peace.